Good evening, everyone. It is
Hello.
Hi.
Soul Fire Ascension with Raven and
Jessamine.
Jessamine.
Hello,
Yay.
everyone. Thank you for joining.
And tonight we have the fabulous Cinnamon Moon. I'm really excited because you know she's my blood sister. And we are very, very excited about that. The one announcement that I would like to make, a friend of ours has closed down a store, and she has crystals and sage and books and movies. And I'm going to put her link in the comment because she's selling these and wants to get them out of her living room. So I will put the link to that, to her page, her Facebook page, in the comments as we get going. Um, but anyway, so Cinnamon, you have such an extensive bio that I really don't want to leave anything out by doing this short little 30-minute trailer. So could you just tell us about yourself?
Sure. I've been aware of my abilities since I was 5 years old, and I've grown with them over the last 70 some years. My path as a shamanic teacher and reader spans over 50 years now. I'm a non denominational minister and reader and the author of A Medicine Woman Speaks. I retired from my own radio show, Cinnamon Moon at Night, after 15 years of being on the air. So it's good to see Raven on the air. I get to come visit once in a while.
Yeah, we switch roles because
Yeah.
now you're a guest on my show. I used to be a guest on your show. I think
Yeah.
that's great.
Growing up in the 50s and 60s, our practices were considered illegal, as you know, Raven.
Yes.
And we had to keep such practices secret until 1978 when the federal law, the Freedom of Religion Act, was reinstated. Excuse me. And indigenous and nature-based practices were legal again. But until then, you could end up in prison. So I was blessed to grow up in an extended family household that was permissive. So my studies and interests were fostered. My mother loved the occult and metaphysical studies. My stepfather was a bohemian gypsy. He was a fire starter and telepath. My grandmother frequented tea rooms and seances. So being in this multi-generational household, we had spirits that showed themselves to the entire family. We all saw them on and off over the years. So my interests were well seated to begin with, and it allowed me to stay awake from a very early age. Not everybody has that privilege, and I think we awaken when we need to. Guidance came through to me early on, and at the age of 5, I was introduced to the elemental forces. I learned to communicate with them. I studied that way until I was into my teens. And then I began studying divination and different modalities of that. I was able to access books on different subjects. I ordered from the mail. I ordered from rare bookstores, and it would come in plain brown paper wrapping, so nobody knew what you were getting. Yeah, it was really difficult in the early days. So you only talked about those things behind closed doors. But as I grew, I was introduced to teachers. They come when we're ready for them, you know. And as they did, my introduction to indigenous studies came through the Lakota path initially, when a girl I went to high school with came over, and we had reconnected, and we started talking about our spiritual beliefs, and she goes, "Well, that's what I believe, and this is what I believe. And we were going back and going, wow, this is pretty strange. But it was the universal threads that we were recognizing. So she died at an early age. She passed at 34 from heart problems. But she made me promise to continue to study, and I did over the years. I went through many different tribal teachings and different individuals that gave me their time and knowledge, and I was fortunate. But I think our path takes us where we need to go.
Absolutely.
That was just the journey I went on.
Absolutely. I would like to thank our audience for being here tonight. We certainly do appreciate you. And hello, Mama D. And anybody who would like to needs to go and check out the Fox Den with Mama D and Gina B. So to continue,
Hi, ladies.
we just had to give some love to our audience because we do love them. So my thing is when I was growing up and I was learning under the medicine men, I learned from my grandmother, and then when I was growing up, I learned from three different medicine men from three different tribes. And the thing that they told me is that we were never to use the word shaman because they thought that, for a couple of dollars, you could become a shaman, and that's just not the way it works. So they thought that the word had been maybe desecrated, and so I was taught to only use the word medicine. So I would say I was from a medicine family. And I notice you are the author of A Medicine Woman Speaks. And I noticed that you don't use the word shaman very much, as in according to like yourself. So can you tell me your views on that?
I think that it's a common perception by many individuals to say shamanism is not a word that we want to use, although from South America they use it quite liberally. I think it's common enough, and I use it interchangeably, really. I was taught that we all have medicine, and when we use it, it makes us a medicine man or a medicine woman if we use our gifts and abilities to help others. So for me, medicine or shamanism are not a religion. It's a spiritual path through nature-based teachings and studies, and I'm comfortable with either term. I do agree, though, while it's possible to buy a title for a price, I don't believe we are merely titles. I think that doesn't make somebody a shaman or medicine person. You have to practice the ways to walk your talk. That's something we're all capable of, but each person has to put in the time and the effort into doing that work. Otherwise, it's in name only and it's empty. You're walking an ego.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
So what do you like best about the path work that you do? What's your favorite part?
Well, I absolutely love watching people grow into their own abilities, seeing them recognize how vibrantly alive the spirit worlds are, and that they're just as much a part of the physical reality as we are. That happens when they learn to see things in the spiritual sense. Until then, most people can't see it. It gets exciting as they gain their self-empowerment and recognize how humbling that is. Sometimes the more power we gain, the less we have to use it. we control ourselves, and our energy goes out, and we're attracting good energy instead of negativity. It's very humbling, and it's a gift to be a vessel of spirit. So when they they're recognizing this. They're starting to see how spirit can work with us in a myriad of ways and use us to touch the life of another, and it's beautiful. So I love watching them discover their paths and where that path is going to take them, their own style of working with energy and their elemental forces and their guides and spirit helpers. When their passion ignites and they set off in life with their foundations in place and they're excited about the path they're going to walk and they've discovered it in their own way. It's not because I don't tell people what path they're going to walk. I just give them the means to find it for themselves. And then they come to me all excited and they're, Cinnamon, guess what? This is what I'm going to do. And I go, yep, fits your personality perfect.
Good.
And it does. And it's good to know I've been a small part of that journey for them. And I bless them as they go on in life. They know what they're going to do then. So it's good. It's exciting work. I don't think I'll stop.
That's wonderful.
I don't think Spirit's going to let me.
No, I don't think so either.
I would hope not.
No.
No, so, I hope you don't ever stop.
No, I don't think she ever will, because actually we will lose a lot when we lose Miss Cinnamon.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on different traditions?
Good question. I believe that they are all viable and necessarily available to us for a reason. We have a very diverse planetary family. And in that, there are many points of view, and we all resonate a little differently. So the different traditions, in my book anyway, serve as various means to achieve the same end. They all take us home. Kanku Ota means many paths, and we're all just finding the one that's right for us. So within the different traditions, we find a wide variety of semantics, but they all present the universal truths, the laws, and teachings. So once somebody has their foundations in place, they're going to see these truths no matter what labels or names are given to them, no matter what tradition they might be visiting with. We resonate with these truths. We feel and say to ourselves, oh, I know what they're talking about. And that allows us to embrace them rather than to see differences and try to destroy. We don't do that. The great truths are present and they're valid within them all. I know your path is walked with integrity, and I know you'd agree that it's what we do with those teachings, our integrity, our intentions, our personal impeccability that determine if we use them in a right manner or wrongly. And that if someone does misuse them, there's going to be a justification.
Oh, definitely.
There's a price to pay. We get back what we put out there. So,
yeah. Absolutely. So, should one of your students just follow one path, or do you encourage them to follow other paths as well?
Yeah, I'm a proponent of eclectic study. I'm an eclectic individual. So if someone is new or has even dipped their toes a bit, I still recommend getting their foundations in place first. And I feel you need a good grip on what you're involved with before you start talking to others about it, because people are going to speak from their points of fear. They might try to sway you from your studies or tell you they're wrong or wicked, all that kind of stuff. So if you're not able to understand what you're studying right away, if it's confusing to you or you're trying to get your bearings, you can't speak clearly on matters to someone else. You can't explain. So I suggest that you take the time to get some answers for yourself and feel like you can at least answer some solid basic questions, and then open up if you want to. But in determining which tradition you want to study, I think it's very important to base that on resonance. What speaks to you? What feels comfortable? Is it like being at home? Does it make sense? Is it the clarity of those teachings resonating? You're clicking with it. And I feel that in the process of laying your foundations, it's nearly impossible for personal interests not to interplay. So some of those studies should be incorporated. Absolutely. You should be researching from multiple sources the answers to your questions, not just your teacher. But go ahead and surf the internet and see what you can find out there. And some of it's true and some of it's going to be misleading. But your teacher, if they're a good teacher, they're going to say, it needs to go this way rather than that way. And they'll clarify things for you. So I remain open to the fact that in laying foundations, your abilities begin to develop, and therefore different studies for different individuals are going to be called for. How can it not be? We don't all walk a path of the healer. We don't all become a teacher or a seer or this or that. We all have our own knack in the world and reason for being here with it. We bring with us the medicine that we need to work with. So I like to support those gifts, and we do in the mundane sense when we're in high school or elementary school, college even. Some universities today are finally teaching this in their curriculum. I think that's fabulous. It's more historical and archaeologically based or anthropologically based in many cases, but some universities are taking it further. I feel it's an important freedom. Didn't you experience some of that too, Raven?
Yeah, I do. And actually, some of the hospitals are doing Reiki now too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
The
So I do.
Cleveland Clinic utilizes it.
What did you say, Jessamy?
The Cleveland Clinic is utilizing it now.
Mm-hmm.
So they highly recommend it, and they have practitioners in the hospital.
Really?
Yeah, I think Parkview, where Tim works, they're using it too. And the only difference is they will only allow nurses to become Reiki practitioners.
Well,
at
they've
Parkview.
got standards, yeah.
But I mean, whatever. At least they have opened up to it.
Mm-hmm. Jessica,
So-
you do healing too, don't you?
I do. I practice Reiki. I do past life regression. I do like a soul retrieval. I work with the shadow side of a person's soul, and I help to bring that out to the surface so that they can have the light come into them, but that root cause is starting to be healed and removed.
Nice. Yeah, some people are going to be healers, like the two of you, and they're going to use different modalities. I know Raven has lots of different modalities, but they better equip you to provide services for a wider range of client needs. So, I mean, I'm an amalgam of everything I've experienced and all the different teachers. I've had so many teachers, so many that I've worked with, and they all contributed to my knowledge base. It's my knowledge now, and it's mine to share with others. And I think that's how we all develop if we're on a path of service, certainly.
Well, and I know that I have had many, many teachers, and I've had many students, and those students have taught me.
Mm-hmm. They do, because their needs, because you have the means to find the answers that maybe you don't possess. When they have an issue, you go look for it. You say, well, I don't know the answer for that right now, but let me go check some stuff and see what I can find out for you. And you go research it and contact the people you know that would maybe hold that answer, and you bring it back to your student, and you both grow together in that sense. But you've gathered a lifetime of information already that you're sharing with people. And as a teacher and a practitioner, we learn in a multitude of ways. I don't think you can get away from being eclectic.
No, no. So now, how do you determine who you will teach?
It's when we're initially introduced, whether they find me online or they come through referral, or they hear me speaking somewhere, whatever means they come to me by. We have an initial introduction, and they reach out to me and they share things that they're looking for, that they're experiencing, why they want to study with me or ask me their questions. And that kind of shows me if I'm able to help them or not. And then we begin, and I give some really basic directions. I recommend 3 seminars, and then I want them to get back to me when they've had the time to go through them. I don't push anybody other than at their own pace. That I'll match them step for step. And I don't believe we should force feed or force teach. You've got to have it done by Friday stuff. Do it when you follow your own passion, your own speed, your own ways. And I just match them step for step. And then that way there's no my wasting their time or them wasting my time. I work in depth with those that are serious. Some people are just curious. They just want to ask you a question or two, and I answer them. But if they're a serious seeker, then you can tell they're hungry. They want answers. More than just one question. They can't stop asking questions initially.
Right. So, what can somebody expect to gain from the foundations that you share?
And I share. Well, the years have been filled with a spiritual awareness for me and a hunger for teachings, and I have a ferocious curiosity. So if that continues today, I don't think we ever stop learning. But those years are getting long now, and so much is incorporated within a confidential one-on-one platform. I don't teach groups, I teach individuals. And assistance is there with a deeper understanding of concepts and practices through alignment with the individual's personal goals. They will come to understand their sensory abilities and applications through creating sacred space, meditation, journey work, dream walking, exploring dimensional realities, connecting and communicating with elemental forces, dimensional entities, spirit helpers, totem animals, guides, angels, spirit and Mother Earth. They'll learn about interpreting guidance messages, signs and symbology, and come to understand the use of protective measures. I think that's very important. With the structure and purpose of ceremony and ritual. They get assistance in healing old wounds and cleansing negative areas of their life, assimilation of lessons received along with assistance in overcoming challenges and blockages during developmental phases. And we all run into them. But if you don't know what you're facing, your teacher odds are the teacher will know or have different methods of overcoming a challenge. And they can steer you in the right directions. And their destiny, where it applies to the course their spiritual path is taking, by understanding its purpose as it emerges to the individual. It doesn't show itself to me necessarily. I might see it, but I'm not telling you what you're going to do in life. You're telling me this is what I feel I need to do. And so it's going to evolve with you for the rest of your life. If I'd known when I started that I'd be doing 15 years on air as a radio personality, or I'd be teaching for 50 years or more, I'd have run for the hills. I would have said, that's not me. No way. But my path just brought it to me, and gradually I grew into it. So we all have our specialty areas within the scope of our path work, and there are so many paths of service to others that exist, that when somebody has their foundations in place and their path calls for teachings that I don't have, then I refer them to somebody else. I send people to Raven, or sometimes to Jana. You know Jana.
Mm-hmm.
She has the only, as far as we know, only nonprofit alternative hospital in the country.
Oh, wow.
With here in Brookhaven. And so both women, Raven and Jana, are amazing healers, both of them.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's true. I mean, I've watched you go over the years and all the different modalities, and how you master, and the dedication that you put into what you've learned and do. I mean, you're an excellent healer and teacher. Our circles tend to refocus along the lines of supportive resonances and energies that our path is taking us along, and those who walk with us become beloved friends. I mean, our spiritual circle is a very intimate circle. It's very,
and I do agree with what you said. We are here to be in service to others.
absolutely. And the more we know, the more we see how much we don't know. You know, we're
Absolutely.
always learning, but we learn from each other, and our intimate circle brings those teachings. Raven and I have shared teachings for years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For years.
She's absolutely wonderful to learn from, and she's healed me multiple times, fairly recently even. And yeah, I absolutely trust her with my spirit. That's because she's working on me spiritually.
Yeah.
And you have to have that trust. And I think she's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that's true, honey. That's
So
true.
I think Desmi has some questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of branching on that last question, when you have been practicing and teaching for so long, it becomes a lifestyle in a way.
Right.
It really does. What is something that is in your day-to-day routine that keeps that alive, that really keeps it going?
Well, my spirituality, and I think this pertains to anybody on a spiritual path, it becomes a part of you. And it's more than second nature. It's who you are. It brings out the best in you. So each day I rise, I'm thanking my sources of guidance, and I'm inviting them to walk with me, talk with me, show me the way. I give thanks for the blessings they bring into my day. And I begin my day with that awareness, and I can feel if I need to recenter myself in that during the course of a day, if it's chaotic or hectic, and sometimes we need to stop and take a couple deep breaths, But each day I rise doing that, and then some days you do it by the hour, and some days you do it once. I like to center morning when I get up, and in the evening when the energy shifts and it quiets down. But in that way, I have one eye, one ear, one arm, one leg, one foot, in the spirit world at all times and one in the physical reality. And then you just respond to where your attention is needed. It's like if you're in a house with a bunch of people, your family's all around. Somebody's in the kitchen, somebody's upstairs stuck in the bathroom without toilet paper. Somebody's hollering at you for something in the bedroom. You go where that call comes from. And that's, you just shift your attention to what do you need? I'll be right there. And you do it. And so if you keep it's a choice to where you put your awareness. But the more you're doing this, it becomes so much a part of you that it's just present with you. It's automatic.
Yeah.
I choose to walk between the worlds. For me, it's a matter of just shifting awareness.
Yeah.
So my rule of thumb is if it gives you pause, take pause.
Yeah, I do the exact same thing. I'm a psychic medium, and I walk between the worlds all the time.
Okay.
I'm that hedge writer, so I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. My next question is, what do you think about the rise of these so-called like TikTok witches or the social media craze?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to learn from that, but I've seen a lot of things that aren't quite savvy, even misleading.
I know some paths hold shadow teachers for various reasons. And I can't comment fully as I'm not a TikTok or Instagram user. I do use Facebook, and I've seen some reels from time to time. What I have seen is a lot of haphazard freestyle with some going for that Hollywood drama. You know, you see the reels where her nails are painted black and she's got magic marker on her palm, and if you have this mark, you're a this and a that. And it just some of it seems attention seeking, and it's rampant. It's in a lot of different arenas these days. My concern is the use of careless information and misinformation. And I cannot support that because I know there are dangers that get involved. You can get negative attachments. Things can happen and go wrong. And if you don't know how to correct the wrong, you're in trouble. You're scrambling for somebody you can trust to do what needs to be done. There's a lot of people out there that'll say, pay me $100 or $1,500 and I'll send you a crystal that'll clear the room. That's not going to work. You don't fall for those scams. I've had clients call me and tell me those types of things. So send me all the money in your bank account. I'll take the curse off it. Oh my goodness. Honey, you'll never see that money again. Keep it to yourself. You know, it's ridiculous what they put people through. And so that kind of thing I've got very little tolerance for.
I would, yeah. So what advice would you give to the younger up and coming generation that are relying on social media? They basically live on social media anymore.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
I think there's a lot of blindsidedness going on out there. I would encourage them to exercise caution. Work with a teacher, a coach, a mentor, whatever label you want to put on somebody, but work with someone that has experience and a proven track record where maybe there's some testimonials or you know somebody that studied with them and they tell you this teacher is amazing. I grew, I learned this, I learned that. And the other thing, get some sort of reference about who you're putting your trust in. There are excellent teachers out there and a lot of scams with unqualified people offering teachings that are empty and dangerous. So I think it's important to do some research, see how you resonate with someone. If they're offering or what they're offering speaks to you in a sacred way. What is their attitude toward what they teach? Do they hold it as sacred? If it does, then explore it more. Go for it.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said before. You do have to watch for infringements because
Mm-hmm.
that's an easy way for you to be infringed upon. And like you said, unless you know somebody who's going to get rid of those infringements for you, it could be. So I agree with you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you still recommend books? Like, it seems like the younger generation doesn't want to read anymore. Um, Books are they're timeless, they're classic. And um, what book would you recommend? And on that subject, what is your favorite book that you've written?
I like A Medicine Woman Speaks. It's mine, for one thing, but I wrote it knowing that the public, when someone is new to spirituality and there is so much confusion, it's a shamanic perspective. It talks about different traditions, different aspects of nature-based teachings in a very basic exploration, very conversationally, so that people get an idea that all the traditions are going to teach you the same thing in a different way. So if I'm giving an example in the book of spirit keepers for each of the elemental forces, I will say, like, um, if you're studying Celtic traditions, they're called this, this, and this. If you're studying indigenous teachings, they're called this, this, and this. If it's a Christian teaching, it's this angel or it's this deity. If you're in Greek and Roman, so I brought in a lot of different perspectives and how they all have the same qualities or very similar qualities. And so it's an introductory body of work, but it answers questions and it helps people find the path they want to go study.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. So it's a good starter book and it's a good reference book for anybody that's been on their path for a long time.
Well, I'm gonna have to buy a copy for sure. I have a whole library started,
Oh,
and I have a little bit of everything from Silver Raven Wolf that I got when I was a teenager,
yeah,
a
yeah,
long time ago.
yeah.
But I think your book will be one of the newest editions. I definitely need to read it.
I
Um,
have people using it for teaching classes.
Good, good.
And I've got them reading it 2-3 times because each time they get more out of it. It's in its third printing right now. You can get it on ebooks or Amazon or any major bookstore. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
fantastic.
it's been around, and I'm working on another one finally.
Oh, good, good.
No title yet. That's going to come when it's completed. I've actually got 3 different manuscripts going. So if I get blocked on one, I can hop to another one.
Oh, there you go.
Keep the momentum going. I'm
Yeah,
hoping to have one ready next year.
yeah. Well, that's good that you're staying inspired. That's absolutely
Oh,
wonderful. And that inspiration and creativity, that's huge in the spiritual lifestyle. Um,
absolutely.
what is the most important aspect of that spiritual lifestyle do you feel that you can bring out in yourself to show others?
I think the connection to the unseen side of life and the way it unfolds, the magic of things, the medicine that's
Mhm.
there inside the individual and around them in life. Centering and grounding along with protection is important. I think the further you are on your journey, the less you need to shield because you're constantly cleansing your own energy
Mhm.
on your own. It's its own form of protection. You don't need to put up a heavy shield so much. Having trust in what you pick up on and listening to that inner voice, taking pause when you're given pause. Um, we all tend to get caught up in mundane matters, so getting back on track with your spirituality can be a challenge for those that are new to their path.
Mhm.
But the path flows back and forth constantly. It calls our name when we're needed somewhere. So I think it's just important to pay attention to that. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know there for a time I've been practicing 20 years, and when I had my son around the time I was 26, I stopped practicing. I wasn't
Mm,
inspired. I had postpartum depression, but then I had a newborn, and then he was all of a sudden a toddler,
mm,
and there just wasn't a whole lot of time.
mm.
And I finally got back on track, and now I've always lived a very spiritual lifestyle. And some things happened in the past couple weeks that really shifted my perspective.
Oh,
Um, and the gods that I had worshipped had told me that it was okay to pause with them and start another path. Um,
oh.
there were things that I needed to learn, and it was a big wake up call.
Mhm,
And I'm ready. I'm ready to do that. So yes, I absolutely agree with you 110%.
mhm.
Absolutely. So with having such a long life and a long career in the spiritual side and your spirituality, if you had to do anything over again, what would you do? What would you do differently?
I don't know that um, I would want to change much. I experienced some rough times and some very difficult things, but they've all turned me into the person I am today. So I'm grateful for the lessons and I can let the pain go. It doesn't hurt me to share with somebody that's going through something similar. I'll say, well, I went through that too. I know what it's like, and um, I share where it's appropriate. But otherwise, I stay focused, and I think that's important. What I would change is in myself. I wouldn't be so hard headed. I don't think. I wouldn't be so resistant to stepping out of my comfort zones when I'm being nudged to do that. I mean, it took them. When I went on radio, guidance came through and they told me, you're going to be on radio and you're going to do TV. And I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't want to do that. Um, and they came at me for 6 months before I finally caved in and did it. And then I was nervous. Um, my knees were knocking for like the first 3 months. Now, geez, I used to do 2 hour shows and I started out doing 30 minutes and people were saying, I want another hour. It's not long enough. So it just kept growing. I ended up being a 2 hour show every week.
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wonderful.
So I
And
would change me. I wouldn't
Mhm.
I wouldn't resist so much. I
Yeah.
would understand that they're asking me to. I know it now that when they want you to leave a comfort zone, it's for your own good. You're growing.
Oh my goodness,
You
yes. Um,
gifts
I
and
had.
abilities too.
Mhm.
Everything.
I actually had that experience just within the last week. Um, like I said, a lot of things had happened, and I was told to take a different spiritual path. Like my guides have pretty much grabbed my arm and like took off with me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went to church for the first time in about 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I had grabbed a Bible and I opened it, and it fell to one of my favorite passages from the Sermon on the Mount. And so I put it back. I'm like, okay, that's, cool. It's my favorite. So I put it back. And then the preacher or the priest um, got up and he started preaching exactly what I had written that just randomly opened to that spot. And I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty neat. I don't believe in coincidences, but at the same time, I was like, and what are the chances? The next day, I went to a different church with one of my friends. Guess what the sermon was about? The very same thing.
Yeah.
So
They
I
come at you from every direction they
exactly.
can.
So I threw my hands up and I said, okay, I'm listening. I'm listening. So
Mhm.
um, I think that's the important thing. Yes. Listening to your gut, listening to your guides.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cause, I follow with the Norse pagan deities. And when all this was happening, Odin came to me and he said, it's time to stop. You need to do this.
Hmm.
And Odin being the wonder, I think he understood
Yeah, of
what was happening.
course
So
they do. They know us better than we know ourselves. I
100%.
think as you grow on your spiritual path and you learn to trust more and
Hmm.
you receive the validations for that, and the messages are going to come at you at least 3 times initially, but once you start picking up on them, they don't need to do that.
Yep.
They once is enough and you're okay, on my way. And you just do it. But I think if you have been on a path for a while, you've
Mhm.
developed a great deal of gratitude, a
Right.
great deal of humility. Your integrity is something you're consciously aware of at all times.
Mhm.
Your intentions you're consciously aware of. Your impeccability and
Mhm.
love, lots and lots of love come
Yeah.
out of you. Your heart grows so much.
Mhm.
And it has a mind of its own and it has a voice of its own. And you're learning to listen to that because your spirit speaks to you through the heart, through your senses. We've got an internal GPS system if we pay attention to it. Um, and so the self becomes honored as well as the path that you walk. You know, it's just, it just happens. It's part of the growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so what we all know that music sets the mood, can set the scene, things like that. What
Hmm.
do you like to listen to that really gets you in that spirit of the spirit of spirit, I suppose, that mindset? Like what's your
Would
style?
you,
What's your favorite?
would you be surprised to know it isn't music at all?
Really?
No. I like to go into the silence and I will seek solitude to get
Mhm.
there. Um, so I don't use music to set the mood spiritually, other than that of the spheres, because when my angels come near me, I hear music. But it's not something I'm putting on the station or anything. You know, it's
Mhm.
something they bring to me. Um, if it's just plain music in the mundane sense, I'm a R&B girl. I like
Really?
all kinds, but I like R&B. That's
Oh,
what I
wow. That is really awesome. That
do.
is fantastic. Um,
And I like an atmosphere of, I use sage, I use
mhm,
candles, I burn cinnamon incense. I like their properties. I like the clean energy. It the enhancement to my own abilities.
mhm,
They lend protection. They draw and attract good energy. Bring healing energy in. All kinds of things. So um, one of my earliest teachers taught me the perspective that attitude is altitude. And for as long as I can remember, when I get up, that's the way I start my day and I walk through it. And I take the day's blessings alongside my heart's voice being expressed and maintain that during the day. Um, I share blessings with on social media.
mhm.
I have a group. I have a website. I have a Cinnamon Moon page on social media. And I have Two Moons Talking, and my website is Spirit Lodge.
Okay.
So the website's been put together for the past 23 years now, and it has a very extensive library, topical library, where you can find subjects on or different subjects and then lots of articles and discussions on them. So,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
That is great.
Sam
I
Blue. Sam Blue has a question, Cinnamon. She wanted to know where she could find your book. I know you said it, but she might not have caught that.
Amazon.com. Amazon.com. Any major bookstore, I think, can order it if they don't stock it.
Mhm.
It's available, Sam, on hardcover, or not hardcover, paperback and ebooks, both.
Okay.
Kindle.
And Sam also says, I love your messages in the morning, Cinnamon Moon.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm glad she does.
That
Thank you.
That is absolutely wonderful. Yeah, and I think, have you heard the tradition of blowing cinnamon in your door on the first day of the month? Have you ever done that?
I don't do that. I haven't heard that one. No.
Have you ever heard that one?
I just know that the cinnamon incense has been used for centuries to clear the negative energy out of temples.
Yeah.
So if it can do that, it can do it in my office. It can do it for me. It can, it's powerful. So I just burn it.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
And I have cinnamon sticks and cinnamon oil and so.
Yeah, I'm very heavily reliant on ground cinnamon. I put it in everything. I even use it in my shower.
Yeah.
Oh, I love cinnamon. I actually take cinnamon capsules because it helps your
Oh, do
metabolism.
you?
It's a very good for your metabolism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I keep cinnamon sticks around.
Mm.
I wear a lot of thieves oil, and that's got cinnamon and clove, those warm herbs in it. So I've always got something with cinnamon around me.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
powerful.
like cinnamon in my candles too, but I put cinnamon in just about everything that I cook.
Although,
absolutely.
Raven, I am addicted to the Egyptian amber. I love those.
I know. Doesn't that smell wonderful?
Oh my! Jerry's hooked on them now. He likes them too.
Yeah, as soon as Tim gets to feeling better, I think he's going to
Mm.
be making some more.
Well,
Good.
tell him I want to order some.
Okay.
Mm.
Jessamy, we'll have to turn you on to that.
Yes, please do. Right now, I've got dragon's blood going. I've had Palo Santo and sage and dragon's blood going, trying to just kind of clear the air in the room and clear myself. And it's Friday. It was a long week at work, and so that helps kind of like get me
Have
centered.
you tried the hydrosols?
The hydrosol? No.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's a spray. It's a hydrosol spray.
Okay. Yeah, one of my friends.
You can get sage and red cedar that way, and oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think
I spray myself with those.
Jackie from Coventry Creations has liquid sage. It's really good. And then my friend Tanzanari makes like a clearing spray, a cleansing spray. So yes, I have used those. I just never heard them called that. I apologize.
Yeah, they're very handy. I love them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with people who have a smoke sensitivity, and so they can't be around the burning herbs or the Palo Santo incense. So it's definitely a way for them to be able to have that. So Cinnamon, what message would you like to leave our viewers with?
I think we're all children of the great ones, and we're precious and we're loved. And if you can accept that about yourself, I mean, parents love their children even when they're naughty. They still love them. They might not like what they just did, but they love them.
Yeah.
And so we are precious and we're loved, and they know that we're here to make mistakes and learn from them. So follow your heart, face your fears. Know that you're a magnificent, powerful, beautiful spirit, and that you stand in your own light. So you want to make it shine and become a beacon. I used to close my show with that every Monday night.
Oh, I love that.
I think it's just something that people just need to look at themselves. When you look for the divine in yourself, you're going to find it. If you look for it, you have to look for it, though. You have to choose to say, I want to bring that out in me.
Mm-hmm.
It comes.
Well, weren't we just talking about that, Raven?
Yep.
Yeah,
We were
you were actually just telling me about that, about
yeah.
finding that divine in my heart and bringing her out, and yeah,
Yes.
we were literally just talking about that a couple days ago, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
And that's helped me get through a lot.
it is.
Both of you are so wise. It's just wonderful to have you both so close. It's
Well,
wonderful.
thank you. Thank you. It was fun being here. I enjoyed both of you ladies.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do it again.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
We'll have to do it again. And I just
absolutely.
you mentioned Tanzaneri. She also has a lot of soaps and
Yes, she's got a little bit of
shoes
everything.
and
Sugar
all
Scrubs coming
kinds
out
of
with that.
things.
Yep,
Yeah.
she's coming out with the Yule line. Because it's almost that time of year. And speaking of, we got a couple more minutes or Cinnamon Moon. With Yule coming up, what do you do to celebrate that? Want to
With
throw your
what,
random questions?
Yule?
Yeah, for Yule.
I do it very privately. I
Mm-hmm.
am not real big on ceremony. I do have rituals that I do. I do a lot of time in the silence, and I'm sharing prayers at that time for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I do daily anyway, but I go into it more so then, and it's the return of the light and a new year beginning. I just the solstice is more potent for me
Mm-hmm.
energetically. I'd be doing more work then.
Right.
But on at Christmas time, I'm just kind of in the heart space.
Yeah. And that's kind of the lesson of winter anyway. It's the time where you're supposed to come in and kind of hold yourself closely and heal and be quiet in that quiet time of year. So
Yes.
And
yeah.
relax after that cross quarter energy hits.
Oh, that's for sure. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Yep. And then I think we're about to have a retrograde around that time too. I think it starts on the 13th.
Oh my.
Um, so yeah, we're gonna have that equinox and the retrograde and everything together. So just
What's
better
going
better hold
retrograde?
on. Do what?
What is going retrograde?
Mercury. Mercury retrograde. That's why I'm
The
saying
the
we're gonna
Oh,
retrograde.
have to,
The
yep, we're gonna have to hold
retrograde.
on tight.
yep.
I don't see Mercury retro as a bad thing, though. A
Mhm.
lot of people are going, "Oh my work!" It's a time to redo, rethink, reevaluate,
Yep.
um, pick up what you haven't tended, and clear it
Mhm.
out of the way while it's retrograde. Because when it
Mhm.
starts moving, things move fast.
Yep.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah. And
So
that's kind of
it's the
something.
re period.
Right. That with the people on our path that live our lifestyle, um, it's all about adapting and making things work for you.
Mm-hmm,
Even if it's not going your way, grab it and make it do anyway.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're spot on with that. So yeah, absolutely.
And
So
Jesse, maybe you could put Tanzaneri's web address in the links or the comments down
absolutely,
below.
absolutely. Yep, I would love
And
that.
to remind everybody that Erlinda has those crystals and books and all of that for sale, and I will post it
Yep.
on the comments one more time, her
Hmm.
Facebook link. But
Yeah.
anyway, we have and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much to all of our viewers for being here. I want to send you much love.
Yep. Thank you so much. We enjoy having all of you here. We enjoy seeing your comments. We enjoy interacting with you, and we love you. Like we really do. We love you.
And Cinnamon, you are the most beautiful sister that I know.
Oh,
I just love you so much.
I love you too, honey.
I've,
Honor
I've
and
been
respect you.
yeah, I've been starstruck this whole time. So I've been sitting here like fangirling. Oh my goodness, this is so amazing! Like, yeah. So I'm trying to keep it cool and everything.
At heart, I'm just great grandma.
Oh,
so,
well, that's all right.
So I'm just me. I'm just me, honey.
And you're wonderful.
Raven and I go back a long way, and we share a lot of the same things in life that we've been through. It's amazing, but she's my honey boy.
Yeah. Miss Cinnamon's my sweetie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love her.
Yeah.
So this is your last chance. Those of you who are viewers, is there something that you would like to ask Cinnamon? Anything at all that you'd like to ask her that you'd like some knowledge on? Because she's a very knowledgeable lady.
Yes, extremely wise. Very wise.
So I guess Sam Blue says thank you for another wonderful show. And I thank you all and wish you all a very good night and a very safe weekend. We love, honor, and respect you. Have a fabulous evening.
Blessed be all.
Blessed be. Thank
Blessed
you.
be.
Good night.